This is not just a school. To be an academy man is to always be honest, to never give up, and try to help people along the way.
We try to give an education to all young men who qualify for CBA, irrespective of their financial circumstances. The men that leave CBA really do change the world.
Christian Brothers Academy was founded on the property of the old Whitney Green Tree Stables, which produced many fine racehorses going back to the 1920s. The founders of the school wanted to make sure that the graduates of Christian Brothers Academy would be young men who would have a positive impact on the community. Certainly that's happened over these almost 60 years. Today, Christian Brothers Academy is a school that enjoys a well-deserved reputation, not just locally, but also nationally.
CBA earned the National Blue Ribbon School of Excellence for the second time in its history. CBA was one of 6 private high schools in the country able to earn this award in 2017, and it really is an affirmation of the great work that our faculty is doing here and the performance of our students. Christian Brothers Academy has always taught STEM. Back in the early 1970s, Brother James Dobson started our first computer center over in Benilde Hall. He was teaching programming in its early stages. Today, students are learning about digital design. They're able to learn programming and basic circuitry, and this ties in well with our robotics program that we introduced several years ago. In the modern world, people are expected to use technology as just one of the tools in the toolbox, and so we also realize that technology is constantly changing and evolving, and that we have to be ready to also change and evolve. We do believe it's important that our students graduate here well-rounded, students who can read and analyze and think critically. It really is the whole experience. We want to make sure that these kids have everything necessary to be responsible citizens of the world.
It's extraordinarily important to give students an opportunity to shine in the performing arts. The Pegasus Performance Group, Brother Frank's Pipe and Drum Band, and also our jazz musicians perform at the very special CBA Jazz Series. Endowing the performing arts is extraordinarily important. We try to clearly instill, the value of the arts in developing the whole person.
When CBA first started, Brother Basilian wanted to continue in the LaSallian tradition of educating the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. And so athletics was going to play a key role in that. Things like the freshman run, which was a physical component to the education process. At the heart of CBA athletics has always been great coaching. So the first state championship, our 1965 basketball team, was led by Vinnie Cox, and John O'Shea was a legendary tennis coach here and really built up the tennis program through the 70s and early 80s. Running has always been at the core of CBA athletics, and a huge part of that was obviously Coach Heath.
I ran track for 4 years at CBA, and Mr. Heath was a very tough coach. You knew when we were scheduled for an interval practice that it was going to be a long day. One of the most memorable experiences in the barn was competing against Neptune High School. I think running is critical to the development of the young men here at CBA. It teaches you the art of competition, not just in winning, but in adversity and defeat. It's part of life.
Really proud of the fact that this year we won our 10th ShopRite Cup, which recognizes CBA athletics as the best program in the state. At the top of that list has been recent success of our soccer team and our lacrosse program, one of their best springs in program history. Truly phenomenal what Coach Santos, Coach Dugan, and 19 seniors were able to do this year.
Another pillar of our education here at CBA involves community service and Christian service. It's service to the poor, which is fundamental to our LaSallian education. A good example is when a group of boys every year go out to the Blackfeet Indian Reservation. It is life-changing. They may be exposed to things they may not have been exposed to. Children who worry about where their next meal is going to come from, they better understand how fortunate they are, and in turn, how they have to give back some of that.
What CBA has done since its beginning has been to provide a reasonable tuition for a very good education. CBA has been very generous with regard to helping students who are not financially able to attend. It allows us to have a very diverse community. We do that in the form of scholarships, we do that in terms of financial aid, and that over the last several years has accounted for well over $1 million. It comes from a variety of sources: alumni, parents, and friends of the Academy.
I was born and raised in Keyport. We didn't know that it was possible for me to come to CBA, but it was made possible by the generosity of the CBA community with scholarships. I am currently in jazz band, and I am currently in pipes and drums, also Junior Statesmen of America, Future Business Leaders of America, and I'm in Yearbook Club. This was the perfect fit for me.
CBA's motto is you send them boys and they leave men. And the ways that I thought CBA did that was, number one, maintaining a standard of rigorous academic excellence, and that instills a confidence that no matter what they face ahead, they are well prepared to do that. The men who leave CBA go on to be men of great integrity, and they become good corporate citizens, touched and impacted by this extraordinary tradition.
CBA prepared me, whether it was for my professional career, my life, or just the next 4 years in college. I kind of went to CBA with a kick. I left with a smile, because it was probably the best 4 years of my life. That single-sex education with the Lasallian principles, and I don't think you realize that when you're there. Brother Tim was the tough disciplinarian who would not stand for some of the insubordinate behavior that we would try and get away with, whether it was cutting class or not doing our homework or not shaving, but there was a sense of consequence. Brother Robert, on the other hand, everyone wants Brother Robert as a teacher. He invoked a sense of camaraderie, and he was always quick with a joke. There still are young men at risk in the world today that need to be taken care of so they turn into moral leaders. And I think places like CBA matter more than ever for that.
We're very fortunate at CBA to have a healthy endowment at this point in time, but we want to grow it for a number of endeavors. One is endowed scholarships. Given the Lasallian tradition, where we try to give an education to all young men who qualify for CBA, but also to help our athletic program, to endow academic chairs, and also our arts and sciences.
CBA is steeped in tradition and has a great heritage. We need to maintain that. 3 iconic buildings on CBA's campus require immediate attention: the Round Barn, McKenna Hall, and Benilde Hall. These buildings are almost 100 years old, and they are used continuously. One of the other important projects we have on the board right now is the cafeteria. So if you think about the cafeteria, back in the late 50s when they designed it, and they built it for about 600 boys, now we need more space. We need a different and bigger facility that Dolly would have loved if she was still with us.
Our founders picked as the motto of the school, Religio Mores Cultura, which talks about being men of faith, men of sound moral judgment, men who make a positive impact on our church, world, and society. That tradition's been going on since 1959, and we need to make sure that this tradition and this sacred mission continues well into our future. If your 4 years at Christian Brothers Academy had a positive influence on you, then let's give that opportunity to the next generation of young men to get them to have this same experience as we had.
St. John Baptist de La Salle,
pray for us.
Live Jesus in our hearts.
Forever.